Hi, everybody. I have created this resource for you in the hopes that I can help you save your voice a little bit this year while we are masked and trying to project our voices maybe further or just in a different way than we are used to. So, with my training and interest and background in vocal health and vocal physiology, I'm hoping that I can share a couple of tips so that you can keep your voice healthy in a masked world. So, if you are like me, typically we kind of feel the fatigue of the beginning of the year in the first few weeks of school anyway. And if you're like me, that is compounded right now. So I just noticed that I was a lot more tired because of needing to project my voice through fabric in a way that I am not used to. Usually in the first week of school, we're talking a lot more, but we've only had 2 months off. And now call that 5 months. And so maybe you were talking a lot in the same way or all day long over the summer, but I definitely wasn't. And I definitely wasn't using my voice to project as far as I am needing to now. So your vocal cords are like a muscle, like anything else. And so when they haven't been used, they get a little tired. Okay. So they just have to kind of get into the swing of things, but we have other factors right now as well. You're probably not getting enough water because of being masked. And like many other parts of your body works better, your voice works better when you have more water. So that's another factor of just simply being dehydrated. Plus, it's been so hot this week. And so, if you are doing things outside and not really replenishing your water supply or hydration, then you're going to just be a little dehydrated. And we have so many things coming at us. So, again, our bodies and our voices don't work as well when there's more stress. So, I have four tips that can help you recover faster or not have quite as much vocal fatigue. This is pretty simple, just trying to drink more water, but actually doing it might be harder. So just trying to prioritize getting water into your body even when you're wearing a mask. For me, I stepped out of class a couple of times this week when I was really feeling like I absolutely needed a drink of water. Um, I just stepped out in the hallway for 30 seconds, got a drink, and then stepped back in. And is it ideal? No, but my body needed it. So I did it. Just know that caffeine and sugar can dry your vocal cords. And I would never give up caffeine, but I am trying to be cognizant of how much I'm intaking in coffee, and for sure, sugar is the same way. So just try to, if you're feeling extra fatigued vocally, try to cut sugar out for a few days at least, or try to drink, replace that caffeine with plain water. And then another tip that you could just put some reminders on the times when you know you will have like a passing time or at the beginning of your planning. Fill up water bottle or get a drink of water. Number two is resting your voice when you can. So obviously this week we were doing a lot of explaining of the syllabus and explaining how things work in your class. That may change as we get into the swing of the school year, but it might not. So, two tips that I have for you for resting your voice will just recover better if it's less in use during the day. If a student asks a question that you think someone else besides you in the room can answer, let them talk for a little while. And maybe that's a time when you get that drink of water. Or if there's something that you're teaching in multiple classes, go ahead and record it ahead of time. And that way you're just not having to do it 3 times during the day or more than one time over the course of 2 days. That is a time where your voice can just be quiet for a little while and have some time to recover. So this third tip, I'm going to talk a little bit more. So changing how you speak. This is a slight change can make a huge difference. So the first thing is just to be thinking about your posture. Airflow makes a huge difference in how much pressure is on your vocal folds. So without going into a ton of detail, just knowing that elongating your spine, thinking a little bit more about the airflow that you're that you're supporting your speaking voice with will make a huge difference in how much pressure is on those little vocal folds. Vocal folds are teeny tiny things, and if you're slouching or not putting very much airflow through, they just take the hit a little harder. The second point is something that I admit you have to practice a little bit. So typically, and I am really bad at this, and I notice a huge difference when I'm actually good at it. So trying to speak in a slightly higher register. This picture over here on the right shows just kind of how much um, empty space there is behind your nose. And this is what fills up when you have a sinus infection. Obviously, it doesn't feel good. There's a lot of that pressure. But in the meantime, when your voice is clear, there's a lot of resonance back there. So if I just change my voice from this is my normal speaking voice and I just raise it up a little bit, it feels funny, it feels weird, but there is less pressure on my vocal folds, and therefore my voice will fatigue later, or it will last longer before it gets fatigued. So just experiment with this. You don't have to raise it a lot, but as Westerners and as Americans, we tend to speak at the lowest part of our vocal register, and it just makes for a tired voice. So just experiment with this, or try, even just fluctuating your voice more can add obviously interest to your speaking as well as just being better on your voice. These are two things that take a little bit, but a little change makes a huge difference in tip number 3. Tip number 4 is to consider amplifying your voice. If you're finding that you are constantly fatigued, you're just experiencing this and you're either like in pain or just lose your voice really easily, amplifying your voice with with just a little headset mic will really make a difference, because you won't be feeling like you have to project. You can just speak in a regular voice and your students on the other side of the room will hear you. So this would be talking to your PLC leader or to Mr. Grable about getting into that process. So those are my 4 tips, and I tried to go quickly through them so I'm not taking a lot of your time, but please use this if you feel like you need a reference point at any point in the year to get some tips on how to save your voice in a masked world. I'm more than happy to offer some more specifics, or if I have something to offer you as an individual that's a little bit less general. However, I'm not an ENT. I'm not a medical professional. And so if you have chronic voice issues, please see an ENT. Hopefully this is helpful for you, and let me know if you have questions.